Let me tell you something about pressure. Pressure's got a bad reputation. People hear that word and they start to shrink. They panic. They tap out before the game even starts. But me, I look at pressure and I say, good. That means something's about to happen. See, pressure doesn't come for people who are standing still. It shows up when you're moving, when you're trying to grow, when you're aiming for something bigger than where you are right now. And if you feel it, if you're in that space where it feels like the world is pushing in on you, you better lean in because you're in the right place. You know what pressure really is. It's the universe asking, how bad do you want it? Let me tell you a little story. There was a time when I didn't know what tomorrow looked like. I was sleeping on my mama's couch. I had dreams bigger than my circumstances, but those dreams didn't pay the bills. And every day I woke up feeling like the walls were closing in. No open doors, no answers, just rejection and silence. But here's what pressure taught me. It's not here to break you, it's here to build you. See, coal, that black rock buried deep under the earth. It doesn't ask to become a diamond. It just sits there and takes the pressure, day after day, year after year. It doesn't complain, it doesn't crack. It endures, and eventually, that same black coal becomes one of the most valuable things on earth. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens, only if it doesn't give up. So when life starts to feel heavy, when everything seems to be falling apart, I want you to ask yourself something. Am I coal or am I dust? Because dust disappears under pressure, but coal transforms. Pressure will do one of two things. It will expose weakness, or it will reveal strength you didn't even know you had. That moment you feel like breaking down, that's the same moment something inside you is learning how to stand up. It's building muscle, it's stretching your capacity, it's forcing you to dig deeper than comfort ever would, because comfort is nice, but it never made a champion. So I say this to you, wherever you are in your life, if it feels like you're in the fire, if it feels like you're being crushed, like everything around you is pressing in, don't run, don't hide, don't curse the pressure. Stand in it, walk through it, because one day you're gonna look back and say, that was the moment I changed. That was the season I became something I never thought I could be. That was when I turned from coal into a diamond. Let it mold you. Let it make you, let it elevate you. Pressure, that's just the cost of greatness. Let me tell you something that most people don't realize. It's not your circumstances that define you. It's your character. Life's gonna put you in all kinds of places, high places, low places, confusing places, places where you feel like you don't belong, places where nobody knows your name, nobody returns your call, nobody sees your worth. And yet, even in those places, you are still you, and if you don't know who that is, this world will try to tell you. It'll put a label on your back, a limit on your name, and a lid on your dreams. But character breaks through all that. Character doesn't wait on applause. It doesn't bend under pressure. It stands when the lights are off, and it tells the truth when no one's watching. I remember being on set one time early in my career. I wasn't the lead. I didn't have the fancy trailer. I didn't have the attention or the praise. But I showed up. I knew my lines. I treated the crew with respect. Not because it got me something, but because that's who I am. You see, you don't act like a professional when you get the job. You act like one before they even call your name. That's character. And that's the kind of strength nobody can take away. I've seen people in mansions who are empty inside. I've seen folks with $10 in their pocket stand taller than kings because they know who they are. And when you know that, when yourself, worth is not tied to your paycheck, your title, or your likes on social media. You're unshakable. Life can knock you down. Life can fire you, leave you, betray you, but it can't take your integrity unless you give it away. You see, strength in any situation doesn't mean things are easy. It means you're anchored, rooted, that when storms come, and they will come, you don't get swept away because your values are planted deep, your purpose is locked in, your identity isn't for sale, and here's what I've learned, where you are may change. But who you are, that's what carries you through. Don't chase status, don't chase image, don't chase the illusion that success will make you whole. Chase growth, chase truth, chase becoming the kind of person that can thrive in any room, rich or poor, seen or unseen. Because if your character is strong, There ain't no situation strong enough to break you. Faith, let's talk about it. I'm not talking about wishing. I'm not talking about hoping something works out because you're scared it won't. I'm talking about real faith, the kind that sits down in the dark when there's no map, no flashlight, no applause, and says, I still believe. That kind of faith that's not easy, it's not flashy, it doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just whispers, keep going. Even when every voice around you is saying, quit. There was a time in my life when the doors just wouldn't open. I'd audition, and the casting directors would smile that really means next. I'd go home with nothing but the sound of silence ringing in my ears, and I remember one night, sitting on the edge of the bed, asking God, am I even meant for this? But something in me wouldn't let go. It wasn't logic, it wasn't proof, it was faith, that inner fire, that knowing deep, unexplainable but undeniable, that there was something on the other side of the struggle that made all this worth it. See, people think faith is about having the answers. But faith is what you hold on to when there are no answers. Faith is strength in the unseen. It's walking towards something you can't see because you believe in something greater than what you feel. And I'll tell you this, some of the strongest people I've ever met weren't the ones with power or fame. They were the ones who kept showing up when nobody clapped for them. They were the ones who prayed even when the walls didn't fall. Who believed even when their hearts were breaking. Who stood when everything in them wanted to sit down. That's faith. It doesn't mean you won't feel afraid. It means fear doesn't get the final word. Sometimes you're going to walk through things that make no sense. You're going to ask, why me? And you may not get an answer right away. But what you will get, if you hold on, is strength, perspective. A deeper connection with something bigger than yourself. Because when you have faith, you stop being a victim of your situation and you start being a student of it. You start learning that every delay has purpose, that every setback is setting you up, that you're not being buried, you're being planted. Faith says, I don't need to see it yet. I just need to believe it's possible. And that kind of belief, that's what moves mountains. That's what brings the breakthrough. That's what makes you strong. Not just when everything's going right, but when everything's falling apart and you refuse to let go. So when you're tired, when the weight is heavy, when the way forward isn't clear, dig in, close your eyes and tell yourself, I may not see it yet, but I believe, and that's enough. Discipline, now that's a word people don't get excited about. It doesn't shine like talent. It doesn't sparkle like charisma. But let me tell you something, discipline is the backbone of strength. The kind of strength that doesn't fade when the lights go out. The kind that holds you up when motivation walks away. Everybody wants to be strong when it's convenient, when the weather's good, when the cameras are rolling, when they feel like it. But discipline, that's strength on demand. That's choosing what's right over what's easy over and over again. Even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, you ever try getting up at 5 a.m. when your body's screaming to sleep? You ever sit down to work on your dream after a long, exhausting day when nobody's asking you to? That's discipline. That's strength being built in silence. I've met a lot of talented people in my life. I've seen people with gifts that could fill up arenas, but they faded, not because they weren't good, but because they didn't show up consistently. Discipline is what separates potential from performance. It's what turns desire into results. Let me put it plain. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your discipline. Discipline is that voice in your head that says, I don't need permission. I don't need comfort. I just need to get it done. And it ain't sexy. It's early mornings, late nights, missed parties, focused weekends. It's choosing the long game when the shortcut is right there, waving at you with a grin. But here's the part people miss: discipline doesn't restrict you. It frees you. It frees you from regret. It frees you from the chaos of indecision. It gives you power over yourself, and when you've got that, when you can rule your own mind, your own habits, your own energy, that's real strength. Because anyone can work hard for a day. Anyone can be committed when the mood hits. But strength, in the realest sense, is being disciplined when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it feels like it's all for nothing, and still you move. You train when you don't feel like training. You study when the party looks better. You give your best even when there's no reward on the table. Because it's not about the result, it's about the standard you hold yourself to. That's discipline, quiet, relentless, non-negotiable, and when you build that, you walk into any room, any challenge, any storm, and you don't have to wonder if you're strong enough. You know you are, because you've been building that strength day by day, rep by rep, decision by decision. And that kind of strength, that kind of discipline, it doesn't fade, it doesn't flinch, it endures. You're going to fall. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee. Life doesn't care how talented you are, how good your intentions are, how carefully you planned it all out. At some point, you're gonna get knocked down, and when you hit the floor, whether it's from heartbreak, failure, loss, or just the weight of it all, what matters most isn't that you fell. It's that you get back up. See, we live in a world obsessed with winning, with being perfect, with looking like you've got it all together. But real strength, it doesn't show up in the highlight reel. It shows up in the comeback story. I've been there, face to the ground, dreams slipping through my fingers, moments when the silence was louder than the applause ever was. But here's what I learned. You don't need a crowd to rise. You don't need everything to be perfect to take that next step. Sometimes all you need is one more breath, one more push, one more refusal to stay down, because anybody can look strong when they're on top, but true power, that shows up when you've got every reason to quit. And you choose to fight anyway. You've got to decide right there in the middle of your mess, that this is not where your story ends, that the fall is just a chapter, not the whole book. You've got to stand up, even when your legs are shaking, even when your heart's breaking, even when no one's cheering for you, because every time you rise, you build something. You build resilience, you build grit. You build belief in yourself that no outside voice can ever give you. You learn that your strength isn't in never getting hurt. It's in not letting that hurt harden you. There will be people who doubt you. There will be days when you doubt yourself. But doubt doesn't define you, action does. And getting back up is the loudest statement you'll ever make. You're not weak for falling, you're human, but if you refuse to stay down, if you wipe your face, square your shoulders, and say, "This is not the end of me," then that's where your power lies. You see, the strongest people aren't the ones who never failed. They're the ones who were forged in fire, who got hit, stumbled, bled, and kept going. So fall if you must, cry if you need to. But when the dust settles, when your heart beats steady again, when the pain begins to ease, stand. Not because it's easy, but because you were never meant to stay down. Now listen to me. You've heard it all tonight. About pressure, character, faith, discipline, and standing back up when life knocks you down. But none of these words mean anything unless you decide to live them. Because strength isn't found in the perfect moment. It's not some gift handed to the lucky. It's built, it's earned, it's chosen, every single day. In the dark, in the quiet, in the struggle no one sees. You want to become strong in any situation. Then don't wait for life to be easier. Don't wait for the storm to pass. Stand in the middle of it. Plant your feet, look it in the eye and say, "I was made for this." You don't need to be fearless, just faithful. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just refuse to quit. And when you fall, because you will, get back up stronger, wiser, hungrier. Because your story isn't over. The world needs your voice, your resilience, your fire. Not the watered-down version of you that plays small to stay safe. The real you. The one forged in fire, shaped by discipline, driven by faith, and fearless in the face of pressure. So leave here tonight with your head high. Not because life will go easy on you, but because you now know who you are and what you're capable of. You're not waiting on strength. You are the strength. Now go out there and become it.